$60 billion. Let that number sink in for a moment. $60 billion. That is the amount of money Ibrahim Traoré just committed to transforming Burkina Faso over the next 5 years. And here's the part that will make your jaw drop. 2/3 of that money, nearly $40 billion, will come from Burkina Faso's own resources. No IMF loans, no World Bank conditions, no French banks, no strings attached. This is the RELANCE plan, and it is the most ambitious development program any African nation has announced in decades. On January 29, 2026, the same day Traoré dissolved all political parties, he unveiled a blueprint that could change the future of an entire continent. The Western media buried this story. They focused only on the party dissolution. They called it dictatorship. They called it authoritarianism. But they deliberately ignored the RELANCE plan, because this plan terrifies them more than anything else. Let me explain why. Before we go any further, I need you to understand something important. This channel exists to tell the stories that mainstream media refuses to tell. Stories about African leaders who are fighting for genuine independence. Stories about development that does not require bowing to Western institutions. If you believe these stories matter, if you want to see more content like this, then please hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications, like this video, share it with everyone who needs to hear this. Every subscriber helps spread this message to millions who are hungry for the truth about what is really happening in Africa. Now let me break down exactly what the RELANCE plan contains, because the numbers are extraordinary. The RELANCE plan has 4 strategic pillars. Pillar 1, consolidating security, social cohesion, and peace. This means finishing the fight against the terrorist groups that have plagued Burkina Faso for years. It means reuniting a nation that was torn apart by violence. It means creating the stability that development requires. Pillar 2, restructuring the state and improving governance. This is why Traoré dissolved the political parties. He is rebuilding the entire system of government from the ground up, eliminating corruption, eliminating foreign influence, creating institutions that actually serve the people. Pillar 3, developing human capital. This means education. This means healthcare. This means giving every Burkinabe the skills and opportunities they need to participate in their nation's transformation. Pillar 4, developing infrastructure and structurally transforming the economy. This is where the big money goes. Roads, power plants, factories, the physical foundation of a modern economy. Now let me give you the specific targets, because these numbers tell the real story. Target 1, reduce the poverty rate from 42% to 35%. 7 percentage points in 5 years. In a country of 23 million people, that means lifting over 1 million people out of poverty. Target 2, increase life expectancy from 61 years to 68 years. 7 additional years of life for every Burkinabe citizen. Think about what that means. 7 more years with your family. 7 more years to contribute to your community. 7 more years to see your grandchildren grow. Target 3, triple the national energy capacity from 685 megawatts to over 2,500 megawatts. This is massive. Energy is the foundation of everything. You cannot build factories without electricity. You cannot power hospitals without electricity. You cannot connect to the internet without electricity. Right now, less than 20% of Burkina Faso's population has access to electricity. Tripling capacity could change that completely. Target 4, fully reclaim national territory. This means ending the terrorist insurgency. This means every Burkinabe being able to return to their home, their farm, their village. This means 2 million displaced people finally going home. These are not vague promises. These are specific, measurable targets with a 5-year deadline. Now, here is the part that the Western media absolutely does not want you to understand. The RELANCE plan will be financed primarily by sovereign resources. Minister of Economy Abubakar Nakanabo was explicit. Nearly 2/3 of the 36 trillion CFA francs, that is about $40 billion, will come from Burkina Faso's own resources. What does that mean? It means gold. Burkina Faso has nationalized its gold mines. The wealth that used to flow to foreign corporations will now fund national development. It means agriculture. Burkina Faso achieved food self-sufficiency in 2025. The surplus can be exported to generate revenue. It means taxes. Not taxes imposed by the IMF as conditions for loans. Taxes collected by a government that is actually accountable to its people. This is the opposite of how African development has worked for the past 60 years. If this story is opening your eyes, if you are beginning to understand what is really happening, please hit that like button right now. Every like tells the algorithm to show this to more people. Help spread the truth. Let me put this in historical context. In 1985, Thomas Sankara announced his first 5-year plan for Burkina Faso. Sankara had the same vision: self-sufficiency, independence, development without foreign domination. But here is the crucial difference. In Sankara's 1985 plan, 81% of the financing came from foreign donors. Only 19% came from internal resources. Sankara hated this dependence. He knew that whoever feeds you controls you. But he had no choice. Burkina Faso simply did not have the resources to finance its own development. The RELANCE plan inverts this completely. 65% internal financing, 35% external. In 40 years, Burkina Faso has gone from 19% self-financing to 65% self-financing. That is not just progress. That is revolution. And it explains why Traore dissolved the political parties on the same day he announced this plan. The old political class was the mechanism through which foreign powers controlled Burkina Faso. Politicians who took French money. Politicians who followed IMF conditions. Politicians who served foreign interests while pretending to serve the people. The RELANCE plan makes these politicians irrelevant. If you're financing your own development, you do not need politicians who negotiate with foreign donors. You need administrators who execute a national plan. You need technocrats who build infrastructure. You need patriots who put country before personal gain. That is the refoundation of the state. That is what Traore is building. Now, let me tell you about the specific infrastructure projects. The plan includes 12 new thermal power plants, one in each region of the country. Sonabel, the national electricity company, expects to add 515 megawatts of capacity by 2028 alone. A Turkish company, Aksa Energy, is already building a 119-megawatt plant in Ouagadougou. This is just one of many projects. The plan includes 270 kilometers of new fiber optic cable in 2026 alone. This will connect Burkina Faso to the digital economy. The national fiber network already spans over 11,000 kilometers. The plan includes coverage of 750 white zones with mobile and broadband internet. These are areas that currently have no connectivity at all. The plan includes the digitization of 100 administrative procedures. This will reduce corruption and increase efficiency. The plan includes the construction of citizen houses across the country. These are one-stop centers where people can access government services. The budget for digital transformation alone is 61 billion CFA francs in 2026. That is $109 million, nearly double the 2025 budget. This is not just talk. This is action. This is money being allocated and projects being built. Now I need you to share this video right now. Copy the link, send it to your friends, post it on your social media. This story needs to reach millions of people. The mainstream media will not tell it. We have to tell it ourselves. Let me explain why this matters beyond Burkina Faso. For decades, African countries have been trapped in a cycle. They need development. Development requires money. Money comes from the IMF and World Bank. IMF and World Bank attach conditions. Conditions benefit foreign corporations. Foreign corporations extract wealth. Countries remain poor. Countries need more loans. This is the debt trap. This is how neocolonialism works. The RELANCE plan breaks this cycle. If Burkina Faso can finance 65% of its development from internal resources, other African countries will ask the same question. Why are we dependent on foreign loans when we have gold, oil, diamonds, and agricultural wealth? Mali is already asking this question. Niger is already asking this question. The entire alliance of Sahel states is building an alternative model. This is why the West is terrified. Not because Traore dissolved political parties. They don't actually care about democracy in Africa. They are terrified because the RELANCE plan proves that African development without Western control is possible. If this model succeeds, if Burkina Faso reduces poverty, increases life expectancy, and builds infrastructure without IMF loans, then the entire framework of Western influence in Africa collapses. Every African country will want to do the same thing. Every African country will ask why they are paying billions in debt service to institutions that have failed to develop them for 60 years. The RELANCE plan is not just a national development strategy. It is a proof of concept for an entirely different approach to African development. Let me give you some comparison to understand the scale. When Sankara launched his 5-year plan in 1985, Burkina Faso's entire GDP was less than $2 billion. The plan had to rely on foreign aid because the country simply did not have the resources. Today, Burkina Faso's GDP is over $20 billion, 10 times larger. The gold sector alone generates billions. Agricultural exports are growing. This is why 65% internal financing is now possible. The economy has grown enough to support it, and Traore has been strategic about capturing that wealth. When he nationalized gold mines like Bungu and Wagnion, critics said it would scare away foreign investment. But the gold did not disappear. It is still being mined. The difference is that the profits now stay in Burkina Faso instead of flowing to foreign shareholders. When he built the first gold refinery with 400 kilograms per day capacity, he created the infrastructure to process raw gold domestically. Value addition, jobs, revenue. When he achieved food self-sufficiency, he reduced import bills. Money that used to flow abroad for food now stays in the country. Each of these decisions builds the foundation for the RELANCE plan. Each of these decisions increases the sovereign resources available for development. This is strategic economic nationalism, not isolation from the world, but ensuring that Burkina Faso benefits from its own wealth. And this is exactly what Sankara preached. He who feeds you controls you. He who finances you controls you. True independence requires economic independence. Traore is applying Sankara's philosophy with resources that Sankara never had. Now let me tell you what this means for the rest of Africa. If Burkina Faso succeeds, if poverty actually drops, if life expectancy actually rises, if energy capacity actually triples, then every African leader will face a question. Why not us? Why are we still signing IMF structural adjustment agreements? Why are we still letting foreign companies extract our wealth? Why are we still dependent on aid that comes with conditions? The Democratic Republic of Congo has more mineral wealth than almost any country on earth, but its people remain among the poorest. Nigeria has massive oil reserves, but development has been slow and uneven. Ghana has gold and cocoa, but debt levels keep rising. The RELANCE plan offers an alternative model: national control of resources, domestic financing of development, strategic investment in infrastructure and human capital. If it works in Burkina Faso, one of the poorest countries in the world, it can work anywhere. That is the threat. That is why Western institutions are nervous. That is why the media buried this story. The RELANCE plan could trigger a continental awakening. Country after country demanding control of their own development. Country after country rejecting the debt trap. This is the Pan-African revolution that Sankara dreamed of. Not just political independence, economic independence, the ability of African nations to develop on their own terms for their own people. And it starts here, in Burkina Faso. Now, let me give you more context about what this means for ordinary Burkinabe citizens. Imagine you are a farmer in the Sahel region. For years, you have watched your crops fail because there is no irrigation. You have watched your children study by candlelight because there is no electricity. You have watched young people leave for the cities because there are no opportunities in your village. The RELANCE plan changes everything. New power plants mean electricity reaching your village. Electricity means you can irrigate your fields even during the dry season. Electricity means your children can study at night. Electricity means you can store food in refrigerators instead of watching it spoil. Electricity means small businesses can operate. Electricity means the internet and connection to the world. The goal of tripling energy capacity from 685 megawatts to 2,500 megawatts is not an abstract number. It is the difference between darkness and light. Now imagine you are a young person in Ouagadougou. You finished school, but there are no jobs. The economy has been stagnant for years. Your only options are informal work or migration. The RELANCE plan changes everything. New infrastructure projects mean construction jobs. New power plants mean engineering jobs. New digital systems mean technology jobs. The plan is not just about building things. It is about creating an economy where young Burkinabe can build careers. The third pillar of the plan focuses specifically on human capital development, education, vocational training, healthcare. These investments create the workforce that a modern economy needs. And the fourth pillar focuses on structurally transforming the economy. This means moving beyond just exporting raw materials. This means processing gold in Burkina Faso instead of shipping it abroad. This means manufacturing goods instead of importing everything. This means an economy that creates value, not just extracts it. Now imagine you are a mother with young children. Your biggest fears are disease and poverty. You worry about health care when your children get sick. You worry about whether you can afford to send them to school. The RELANCE plan addresses these fears directly. Reducing poverty from 42% to 35% means more families can afford basic necessities. Increasing life expectancy from 61 to 68 years means better healthcare, better nutrition, better living conditions. Human capital development means better schools, better trained teachers, more opportunities for your children. This is not abstract policy. This is the difference between hope and despair for millions of families. Now let me address the skeptics. Can Burkina Faso actually deliver on these ambitious targets? In 2025, Burkina Faso achieved food self-sufficiency for the first time in decades. The government distributed improved seeds, mechanized farming, and coordinated production campaigns. It worked. In 2025, Operation Laumasca, known as Ice Wall, reclaimed dozens of towns from terrorist control. The Nakambe region, near Kompienga Dam, Gulmu, areas around Djibo and Tulfe. Thousands of displaced people have returned home. The budget for 2026 has already been approved, over 3,400 billion CFA francs. Defense, health, and development are top priorities. The digital infrastructure budget has already been doubled. These are not future promises. These are current achievements and existing allocations. Is the plan ambitious? Absolutely. Is it impossible? Traore has already delivered on promises that previous governments could not keep. He expelled the French military. He achieved food self-sufficiency. He built the first gold refinery. He recruited 90,000 volunteers for homeland defense. There is no reason to believe the RELANCE plan is beyond his capacity. Now let me tell you about the vision. The government spokesperson, Pingdwende Gilbert Ouedraogo, called the RELANCE plan the plan of all Burkinabe. Minister Nakanabo said its success will depend on collective mobilization and rigorous annual evaluations. This is important. The government is not pretending that success is guaranteed. They are acknowledging that the plan requires the participation of every citizen. This is Sankarism in practice, development through mass participation, every Burkinabe contributing to national transformation. Sankara built schools with volunteer labor. Sankara vaccinated millions with community mobilization. Sankara planted 10 million trees with popular campaigns. Traore is applying the same philosophy at a much larger scale. The question is whether the Burkinabe people will answer the call. Based on everything we have seen, the answer is yes. The murals of Traore and Sankara across Ouagadougou, the social media celebrations, the 66% approval rating for military rule, the 90,000 volunteers who joined the Homeland Defense. The Burkinabe people are ready. They have been waiting for this moment for 40 years, since Sankara was assassinated and his revolution was reversed. Now they have a second chance. Let me leave you with a final thought. In October 1987, Thomas Sankara was murdered. He was only 4 years into his revolution. His 5-year plan had barely begun. For 27 years, under Blaise Compaoré, and for years of instability after, Burkina Faso stagnated. The promise of Sankara's revolution remained unfulfilled. Now in January 2026, Ibrahim Traoré has unveiled the RELANCE plan. This plan picks up where Sankara left off. It embodies the same principles: self-reliance, mass mobilization, development for the people, not for foreign corporations. But it goes further. It has more resources. It has more ambition. It has the backing of a regional alliance that Sankara could only dream of. If the RELANCE plan succeeds, it will validate everything Sankara believed. It will prove that African nations can develop on their own terms. It will show that the 40 years since his death were not wasted, but were the painful preparation for this moment. $60 billion over 5 years, $40 billion from Burkina Faso's own resources, poverty reduced by 7 points, life expectancy increased by 7 years, energy capacity tripled, territory fully reclaimed. This is the vision. This is the plan. This is the revolution continuing. Will it succeed? No one can guarantee success. The challenges are enormous. The enemies are powerful. The obstacles are real. But for the first time since Sankara, Burkina Faso has a leader with a plan, resources to execute it, and the will to see it through. That is worth watching. That is worth supporting. That is worth sharing with the world. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already. We will follow the RELANCE plan every step of the way. We will report on successes and challenges. We will tell the truth that mainstream media ignores. Like this video, share it, comment your thoughts below. What do you think of the RELANCE plan? Can Burkina Faso achieve these targets? Is this the model that Africa needs? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. The revolution continues. Long live Ibrahim Traoré. Long live Burkina Faso.